Arise, arose, arisen. Arise, arose, arisen. Awake, awoke, awoken. Awake, awoke, awoken. Be, was, were, been. Be, was, were, been. Bear, bore, born, born. Bear, bore, born, born. Beat, beat, beaten. Beat, beat, beaten. Become, became, become. Become, became, become. Begin, began, begun. Begin, began, begun. Bend, bent, bent. Bend, bent, bent. Bet, bet, bet. Bet, bet, bet. Bid, bid, bid. Bid, bid, bid. Bind, bound, bound. Bind, bound, bound. Bite, bit, bitten. Bite, bit, bitten. Bleed, bled, bled. Bleed, bled, bled. Blow, blew, blowen. Blow, blew, blowen. Break, broke, broken. Break, broke, broken. Breed, bred, bred. Breed, bred, bred. Bring, brought, brought. Bring, brought, brought. Broadcast, broadcast, broadcast. Build, built, built. Build, built, built. Burn, burnt, burnt, burned, burnt. Burst, burst, burst. Burst, burst, burst. Buy, bought, bought. Buy, bought, bought. Cast, cast, cast. Cast, cast, cast. Catch, caught, caught. Catch, caught, caught. Choose, chose, chosen. Choose, chose, chosen. Cling, clung, clung. Cling, clung, clung. Come, came, come. Come, came, come. Cost, cost, cost. Cost, cost, cost. Creep, crept, crept. Creep, crept, crept. Cut, cut, cut. Cut, cut, cut. Deal, dealt, dealt. Deal, dealt, dealt. Dig, dug, dug. Dig, dug, dug. Do, did, done. Do, did, done. Draw, drew, drawn. Draw, drew, drawn. Dream, dreamed, dreamt, dreamed, dreamt. Drink, drank, drunk. Drink, drank, drunk. Drive, drove, driven. Drive, drove, driven. Eat, ate, eaten. Eat, ate, eaten. Fall, fell, fallen. Fall, fell, fallen. Feed, fed, fed. Feed, fed, fed. Feel, felt, felt. Feel, felt, felt. Fight, fought, fought. Fight, fought, fought. Find, found, found. Find, found, found. Fit, fit, fit. Fit, fit, fit. Flee, fled, fled. Flee, fled, fled. Fling, flung, flung. Fling, flung, flung. Fly, flew, flown. fly, flew, flown, forbid, forbade, forbidden, forbid, forbade, forbidden, forecast, 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 foretell, foretold, foretold, foretell, foretold, foretold, forget, forgot, forgotten, forget, forgot, forgotten, forgive, forgave, forgiven, forgive, forgave, forgiven, forsake, forsook, forsaken, forsake, forsook, forsaken, freeze, froze, frozen, freeze, froze, frozen, get, got, gotten, got, get, got, gotten, got, give, gave, given, give, gave, given, go, went, gone, go, went, gone, grind, ground, ground, grind, ground, ground, grow, grew, grown, grow, grew, grown, hang, hung, hung, hang, hung, hung, have, had, had, have, had, had, hear, heard, heard, hear, heard, heard, hide, hid, hidden, hide, hid, hidden, hit, 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 hold, held, held, hold, held, held, hurt, 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 keep, kept, kept, keep, kept, kept, kneel, knelt, kneeled, knelt, kneeled, knit, knit, knitted, knit, knitted, know, knew, known, know, knew, known, lay, laid, laid, lay, laid, laid, lead, led, led, lead, led, led, lean, leaned, lent, leaned, lent, leap, leaped, leapt, leaped, leapt, learn, learnt, learnt, learned, learnt, leave, left, left, leave, left, left, led, lent, lent, led, lent, lent, let, 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 lie, lay, layin, lie, lay, layin, light, lighted, lit, lighted, lit, lose, lost, lost, lose, lost, lost, make, made, made, make, made, made, mean, meant, meant, mean, meant, meant, meet, met, met, meet, met, met, mislay, mislaid, mislaid, mislay, mislaid, mislaid, mistake, mistook, mistaken, mistake, mistook, mistaken, overtake, overtook, overtaken, overtake, overtook, overtaken, pay, paid, paid, pay, paid, paid, prove, proved, proved, proven, put, 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 quit, 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 read, 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 read. Rid, rid, ridded, rid, ridded. Ride, rode, ridden. Ride, rode, ridden. Ring, rang, rung. Ring, rang, rung. Rise, rose, risen. Rise, rose, risen. Run, ran, run. Run, ran, run. Saw, sword, sword, sawn. Saw, sword, sword, sawn. Say, said, said. Say, said, said. See, saw, seen. See, saw, seen. Seek, sought, sought. Seek, sought, sought. Sell, sold, sold. Sell, sold, sold. Send, sent, sent. Send, sent, sent. Set, set, set. Set, set, set. Sue, sued, soon, sued. Sue, sued, soon, sued. Shake, shook, shaken. Shake, shook, shaken. Shave, shaved, shaved, shaven. Share, sheared, sheared, shone. Shine, shone, shone. Shine, shone, shone. Shoot, shot, shot. Shoot, shot, shot. Show, showed, showed, shown. Show, showed, showed, shown. Shrink, shrank, shrunk. Shrink, shrank, shrunk. Shut, shut, shut. Shut, shut, shut. Sing, sang, sung. Sing, sang, sung. Sink, sank, sunk, sunk. Sink, sank, sunk, sunk. Sit, sat, sat. Sit, sat, sat. Slay, slew, slain. Slay, slew, slain. Sleep, slept, slept. Sleep, slept, slept. Slide, slid, slid. Slide, slid, slid. Slit, slit, slit. Slit, slit, slit. Smell, smelled, smelt, smelled, smelt. Sneak, sneaked, snuck, sneaked, snuck. Speak, spoke, spoken. Speak, spoke, spoken. Speed, sped, sped. Speed, sped, sped. Spell, spelled, spelt, spelled, spelt. Spend, spent, spent. Spend, spent, spent. Spill, spilled, spilt, spilled, spilt. Spin, spun, spun. Spin, spun, spun. Spit, spat, spit, spat, spit. Spit, spat, spit, spat, spit. Spoil, spoiled, 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 spoiled. Spread, spread, spread. Spread, spread, spread. Spring, sprang, sprung. Spring, sprang, sprung. Stand, stood, stood. Stand, stood, stood. Steal, stole, stolen. Steal, stole, stolen. Stick, stuck, stuck. Stick, stuck, stuck. Sting, stung, stung. Sting, stung, stung. Stink, stank, stunk, stunk. Stink, stank, stunk, stunk. Strew, strewed, strewn. Strew, strewed, strewn. Strike, struck, struck, stricken. Strike, struck, struck, stricken. String, strung, strung. String, strung, strung. Strive, strove, striven. Strive, strove, striven. Swear, swore, sworn. Swear, swore, sworn. Sweep, swept, swept. Sweep, swept, swept. Swell, swelled, swelled, swollen. Swim, swam, swum. Swim, swam, swum. Swing, swung, swung. Swing, swung, swung. Take, took, taken. Take, took, taken. Teach, taught, taught. Teach, taught, taught. Tear, tore, torn. Tear, tore, torn. Tell, told, told. Tell, told, told. Think, thought, thought. Think, thought, thought. Throw, through, thrown. Throw, through, thrown. Thrust, thrust, thrust. Thrust, thrust, thrust. Undergo, underwent, undergone. Undergo, underwent, undergone. Understand, understood, understood. Understand, understood, understood. Undertake, undertook, undertaken. Upset, upset, upset. Upset, upset, upset. Wake, woke, woken. Wake, woke, woken. Wear, wore, worn. Wear, wore, worn. Weave, wove, weaved, woven, weaved. Weep, wept, wept. Weep, wept, wept. Wet, wet, wetted, wet, wetted. Wet, wet, wetted, wet, wetted. Win, won, won. Win, won, won. Wind, wound, wound. Wind, wound, wound. Withdraw, withdrew, withdrawn. Withdraw, withdrew, withdrawn. Ring, rung, rung. Ring, rung, rung. Write, wrote, written. Write, wrote, written.
Leave, left, left, leave, left, left, lead, led, led, lead, led, led, let, 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 let,
lie, lay, lane, lie, lay, lane,
lose, lost, lost, lose, lost, lost,
make,
made, made,
make,
made, made, mean, meant, meant, mean, meant, meant,
Meet,
met, met,
meet.
met, met, pay, paid, paid, pay, paid, paid, put, 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 put,
Say,
said, said,
say.
said, said,
see,
saw, seen,
see,
saw, seen,
sell,
sold, sold,
sell,
sold, sold,
send,
sent, sent,
send,
sent, sent, sit, sat, sat, sit, sat, sat,
speak,
spoke, spoken,
speak,
spoke, spoken,
spend,
spent, spent,
spend,
spent, spent, stand, stood, stood, stand, stood, stood,
take,
took, taken,
take,
took, taken, teach, taught, taught, teach, taught, taught, tell, told, told, tell, told, told, think, thought, thought, think, thought, thought, understand, understood, understood, understand, understood, understood,
wear, wore, worn, wear, wore, worn,
win, won, won, win, won, won, write, wrote, written, write, wrote, written.
English irregular verbs. Listen and repeat. I can be your teacher. Do you want to be my student? I was at school yesterday. Where were you yesterday? Were you at home? Have you ever been to an English-speaking country? Being a teacher is cool. Do you want to become fluent in English? I became a teacher years ago. My friend has become a father. Are you becoming familiar with the irregulars? Do you want to beat me at chess? I beat my friend at chess yesterday. Our team has never been beaten. Beating our team is almost impossible. Let's begin. The lesson begins at 5 p.m. I began teaching in April 2010. The lesson has just begun. The lesson is beginning right now. You cannot bend all metals easily. I bent my phone and broke it. Look, my phone has bent in my pocket. When bending aluminium, be careful. Do you bet on horses? I bet on a horse yesterday. She has never bet on this horse. When betting on horses, be careful. A female mosquito bites, males feed on a nectar. A mosquito bit me last night. Have you ever been bitten by a mosquito? Mosquitoes were biting me all night long. When you cut your finger, it bleeds. If he bled out, he would die. The man has almost completely bled out. The man was bleeding from his arm. We don't go out if a strong wind blows. The strong wind blew our roof off last night. Has your roof ever been blown off? The wind was blowing from the sea. Children sometimes break things. Our children broke a window last weekend. Have you ever broken a window? A person who is always breaking things is clumsy. Do you know what dogs are good to breed? He bred many dogs in his life. Can you get well-bred dogs from hobby breeders? Breeding dogs is not easy and it takes time. Do you sometimes bring a bottle to a party? I brought sandwiches to the last party. Have you ever brought burgers to a party? I suggest bringing a bottle of wine to the party. Do you want to build a big house? They built this bungalow in 1912. New roads are being built all over the country. They are building new houses too. Do you want to buy my old phone? Last time I bought a phone was a long time ago. Have you bought a new phone recently? I'm considering buying a new one. I don't want to catch a cold. Last time I caught a cold was a long time ago. Have you caught a cold recently? I think I'm catching a cold. How can you choose the right job for you? Many people chose the wrong career. Have you chosen your job yet? Are you choosing a job now? Can you come to the party? When was the last time you came to see us? The time has come to meet again. Are you coming or not? The new software costs around 500 British pounds. The old one cost much less. That system must have cost a lot. Here is a detailed costing of the proposal. Do you want to cut the cake? Last time I cut a cake, I cut my finger. I have cut many cakes in my life. He's cutting the cake now. Do you deal with many problems every day? Last time I dealt with a problem was on Monday. I have dealt with many problems in my position. Dealing with pressure is what we all must do daily. You need to dig holes for the new plants. Last weekend I dug 5 new holes. I have dug many holes recently. He's been digging the garden. I want to dive to explore shipwrecks. It was hot, so I dove into the lake. I have dived many times. Do you go diving in summer? Do you always do your homework? I did my homework last night. Have you done your homework yet? I'm doing it now. Some shapes are easy to draw. Last time I drew anything was when I was a child. Have you ever drawn anything? Are you good at drawing? We don't dream every night, do we? Last night I dreamt I was on a beautiful beach. Have you ever dreamt of a career in politics? Are you still dreaming? I occasionally drink wine. Last night I drank red wine. Have you ever drunk margarita? What are you drinking now? I drive a truck. I'm a truck driver. I drove to London and back yesterday. Have you ever driven a truck or a bus? Are you driving now?
Today we're going to start with irregular verbs. You're going to see the verb in English and you will find a picture just to know the meaning of the verb. In that case, I'm going to translate it. And then you have an opportunity to tell me the present, the past, and the past participle. Let's start. The first one is blow, which means soplar. The present is blows, blew, blown. You have to do the same with the break. Break, broke, broken, romper. Catch, catches, caught, caught. Cazar, atrapar, capturar. Choose, chooses, chose, chosen, elegir. Come, comes, came, come, venir. Do, did, done. Does for the third person singular. Draw, draws, drew, drawn. Drink, drinks, drunk, drunk. Dream, dreams, dreamt, dreamt. Also dreamed. Drive, drives, drove, driven, conducir. Eat, eats, ate, eaten, comer. Fall, falls, fell, fallen, caer. Forgive, forgives, forgave, forgiven, perdonar. Go, goes, went, gone, ir. Grow, grows, grew, grown, crecer. Know, new, noun, saber, conocer. Drive, rides, rode, ridden, montar. Run, runs, ran, correr. sí. Sí, so, sin, ver. Sing. Sings, sang, cantar. Sit. Sits, sat, sentarse. Speak. Speaks, spoke, spoken, hablar. Swim. Swims, swam, swam, nadar. Take. Takes, took, taken, coger. Write. Write, wrote, written, escribir. Bien, aquí tenéis la lista de los verbos que hemos estudiado hoy.
So I've looked at a lot of Stephen's work again lately, and I'd like to start with your early work on irregular verbs. And it's striking to me how much in this work you think like an economist. So some verbs are regular, you conjugate them with an ed. Others are irregular, right? You don't say getted, you say got. Now, how computationally efficient is that process?
I think it taps two of the mechanisms that make intelligence possible. I mean, why would I spend a good chunk of my career studying the minutiae of irregular verbs? I do love language. I love linguistic detail for its own sake, but I chose that topic because I thought it shed light on bigger issues of cognitive organization. So why do we have 165 or so quirky exceptions like stride, strode, come, came, sing, sang, go, went, and so on? It just seems there could be no rhyme or reason behind it. I think it's just a consequence of the fact that we memorize words, and that's one of the two mechanisms behind language. We store by brute force rote memory arbitrary pairings between a sound and a meaning. The word duck doesn't look like a duck or walk like a duck or quack like a duck, but I can use it to get you to think the thought of a duck because we and everyone in this room has memorized a pairing between that sound and that meaning. We don't just blurt out words, but we also combine them into phrases and sentences using rules that allow you to predict or compute the meaning of a combination from the meaning of the parts and the way that they're arranged. Those are the two mechanisms that make language possible. But there are some kinds of meanings where they can compete over which system expresses a particular concept. In the case of regularity and irregularity, we have two different ways of conveying the concept, an action that took place in the past, or in the case of plurals like mouse, mice, and rat, rats, two ways of talking about more than one thing. We can memorize a more or less independent word to convey the idea, like struck or sang, or we can apply an algorithm to say something in the past tense, add ed to the end, and then we get walk, walked. And because of the peculiarities of the history of a language, you can have that labor divided between the rule system, the algorithmic system, and the memory system. And it's the tension between those two systems that give rise to a lot of the quirkiness of language, including English irregular verbs.
So when you did this was one of the first things to make you famous. Did you know in the back of your mind this was a kind of Hayekian argument? Because it seems to me the common verbs that we use a lot, those go irregular, and it's easy to remember them because you use them all the time. But the irregular verbs, the regular verbs are ones that you don't use so often, and thus again you're economizing on information in this decentralized way.
Yeah. I don't know how well that analysis would work across a range of zones of irregularity. So it is certainly true that irregular verbs tend to be common, and which is kind of the bane of the language learner. You learn Spanish or French, and all of the words that you use all the time, you've got to memorize the conjugations. And I think the reason for that is I might even invoke Darwin more than Hayek, namely that in the generation-to-generation transmission process of an irregular verb, an irregular verb has to be memorized because by definition there is no rule behind it. The only way you know that the past tense of come is came is that you hear everyone else use came. Since memory thrives on frequency, the more often you hear something, the better you remember it. If any verb declines in frequency, and verbs become more or less fashionable for all kinds of reasons, then you could have a generation that never successfully masters it. They'll default to the all-purpose add ed rule, and then the verb will go from irregular to regular for that generation and all subsequent generations. And so you've got an erosion of the stock of irregular verbs as they get filtered through the minds of children memorizing them, where it's the less frequent ones that tend to fall out of the language.
So dreamt becomes dreamed, for instance.
Dreamt
but
becomes
dreamt
dreamed.
is prettier.
It is prettier, and that's one of the reasons that irregular verbs do stay in the language, and one of the reasons that often lyricists and poets and novelists will prefer the irregular to the regular when there's a choice, strided versus strode, strove versus strived, hove versus heaved, is that they're good words. They actually fit the phonological template for a standard word in the language, the kind of sound that you would use for a nickname or a common word. And they are more euphonious because they aren't assembled in a kludgy way from the verb stem and this bit of detritus hanging on the end, this ed or s, this suffix, which is serviceable. It allows you to convey a message, but it makes the sound of the word itself a bit clunky. And there are almost unpronounceable regular words like sixths or edited, where because you're sticking an extra bit on the end of a word, you're actually messing up the nice contour of a standard word in the language. And that's another one of the tensions that over the course of the history of the language will kind of shape the balance of regular and irregular forms. So that is Hayekian in the sense that no one planned the language to be optimal in satisfying one criterion. There are trade-offs, there are multiple tugs, pushes and pulls, and as speakers, millions of speakers make little adjustments as they use the language, as kids learn the language itself spontaneously evolves with some balance.